Hello everybody and welcome to a new video, and as you can tell by the title, I am going to be talking about my birth plan. Now, small disclaimer, I'm actually currently 2 weeks postpartum whilst I'm filming this because baby made an early arrival. However, I thought that I would talk through my birth plan so that it's documented as part of my journey, and then I will film a video talking about my labour story, my baby delivery story. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for that one. That one's an interesting one, to say the least. So anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to eat my lunch at the same time, but let's get into my birth plan. And my dog's going to currently run around behind me. I have screenshotted what my birth plan was off of the Badger app because that's what we've used throughout my pregnancy. When I say throughout my pregnancy, it was introduced for Northamptonshire partway through my pregnancy. So we have used that to do my birth plan. So first up was, I would prefer to give birth, and this was in like place-wise, and I put labour ward because even though the birth plan is kind of catered for Northamptonshire, I wasn't giving birth in Northamptonshire. I was giving birth in Buckinghamshire, Milton Keynes. So I put labour ward because that's where I needed to give birth. The next one was during labour and birth I would consider. So I have ticked all of the options that I could possibly tick that I would like. So I put massage, walking, standing, different upright positions such as all fours, squatting, kneeling, a birthing ball, bean bags, birth stools, birth couches if available. Half of this I hadn't even got to Scooby-Doo what it was, but I was like, it doesn't sound horrible, it doesn't sound nasty, so I'm just going to tick it just in case. A bed for rest propped up with pillows or while side on my side and the lights dimmed. I literally was the type of person, and still am, that I'm just going to go with the flow when it comes to giving birth or what I need to do when it comes to a medical procedure. I'm just going to go with the flow with whatever it is that I'm recommended or I need to do in that moment, because I'm not going to know. So I just wanted to go with the flow because you're going to be in pain, you know you're going to be in pain, so you might as well just go with the flow. Induction of labour if I go past my due date, so I would make a decision at the time with a discussion with the consultants and midwife, purely because I didn't want to rush into having an induction of labour, because we all know that when you have an induction of labour, there's like a percentage of them that can go to C-section. And one of the big things for me was that I wanted to make sure that I was avoiding C-section as much as possible. During labour and birth, I would like to consider the following coping strategies for pain relief. And then it was, I've selected epidural just because I had an epidural with Archie when I gave birth to him, and I just wanted to make sure that the option was there if I wanted it. And I've also ticked I prefer to wait and see because, as I said, I just wanted to kind of go with the flow and just see what happens and what I wanted at that point. How I would like to give birth, I've put at Milton Keynes, labour ward, self-explanatory. It's exactly where I wanted to give birth. During labour and birth, I'm aware that it's recommended that my baby's heartbeat is monitored, and I said yes. When we had Archie, he had the probe put on his head, and we literally just said, like, we will go with the flow if we need it when we give birth. Then we go with it. If I need continuous monitoring, I would like to try and be as mobile as possible, because we all know that gravity helps pull baby down, and it just helps when you're giving birth. Who I would like to be present during labour, think about different options, and I've literally just put my husband. And then it said any person that I would like to have involved in discussions to do with my birth and my health and stuff. My husband, obviously, that's who I'm going to pick. If I'm having a planned cesarean section birth, what would my preferences be? And I literally have just left that blank because I wasn't having a planned cesarean, so didn't really have any options of like anything that I wanted. I'm aware that after my baby is born, I will give birth to the placenta, and I have put that I have chosen active third stage. Cord is cut within a few minutes, receive an injection of oxytocin, and the midwife and doctor deliver my placenta, and my birth partner would like to cut the cord. I literally picked those just because we had delayed cord clamping and we had the umbilical cord cut with Jay for Archie, and then I had the injection to help my placenta deliver. Because of my clotting disorder, it would help. I'm aware that during labour, my midwife and obstetrician are likely to recommend examinations to assess the progress. I was like, I'm aware, we've been through it once, it's not our first rodeo. It's not like painful for me, but it's not pleasant, but it's all part of the process. I'm aware that in some circumstances, my midwife or obstetrician may offer interventions to assist with labour. And then I have just put, I'm aware of why and what interventions might be recommended, but it then goes on to say, I'm aware that in some circumstances they recommend an assisted or cesarean birth. And then I said, like, I agree, I understand why. Obviously, I would be going through that conversation if that was the outcome. I would be having a conversation with them before it even happened, just to make sure that I knew what was going on and why it was happening. I understand why an episiotomy might be recommended. An episiotomy is when they have to cut you just because baby is struggling to come out, and they would give you an injection and then cut, and then they would be able to come out. I have put, I understand why that would be recommended. I hadn't got any questions regarding birth because I've kind of already gone through it before, so I kind of know what's going to happen. I also spoke with my midwife about the big baby study just because of gestational diabetes and the risk of having a bigger baby because of that. So we just spoke about the big baby study, which was really reassuring, because you panic as soon as they tell you that you've got gestational diabetes. You automatically think that you're going to have a huge baby, and it makes you nervous for labour. So we had a conversation about that. And then post-birth, it was how I'd like to feed my baby. So if the baby came after 37 weeks, I wanted to do formula feeding, and before 37 weeks, I wanted to do breastfed until the baby is like to the adjusted gestational age of 37 weeks, and then we would move on to transitioning into formula. I'm aware that skin-to-skin contact with baby immediately after birth is recommended, and I was like, yes, hell yes, I want immediate skin-to-skin contact because it helps them, it helps me, and I don't want to run the risk of bleeding too much. So me having skin-to-skin contact with them is the benefit, is like the best thing for us to do. I'm aware that after my baby is born, he or she will be offered vitamin K, and my thoughts are, now this is such a controversial thing. Some people are really for it, some people are kind of against it, and some people are just like, what? We had it with Archie. I had it when I was the baby. I literally was like, yeah, that's fine. We'll just give baby the vitamin K injection. Like, have no issue with that whatsoever. They can offer it to you as like an oral drop type thing. I was like, the baby's going to have their heel pricked because of the glucose pathway. What's it called? The hypoglycemic pathway. So might as well have the injection at the same time just because it's quicker. My thoughts and preferences about postnatal care for myself and baby was, and I literally just said, as little time on the postnatal ward as possible, because I was traumatized, still am, by the amount of time that I spent on postnatal ward after Archie, and just everything that went down, the things that I saw, and just everything that we experienced. It is very triggering. So as little time on postnatal ward would be my preference. And then that's everything that I had to fill out when it come to what I wanted. I've seen loads of people have got like really thick booklets or loads of like printed paper for their birth plans and stuff. I'm kind of a we just go with the flow type of thing, just because you never know what's going to happen. And labour is a natural thing that your body is going to try and put you through. So don't try and control it, because your body's just going to do what it's going to do. That's how I kind of processed it in my head. So I kind of just went with the flow and just kind of went with that kind of plan in mind when I went into my midwife. And from day dot, when I registered that I was pregnant, I literally had the same conversation with my midwife multiple times, where it's like, I'm just very go with the flow, have discussions when we need to have discussions, we cross the bridges when we need to cross the bridges, like we just go through what we need to go through when we need to go through it. Like, I'm not like dead set on certain things. Like, there was people that were going into the appointments before me that were dead set on having a cesarean section from day one, as soon as they even thought about conceiving. So going with the flow as much as possible was just kind of the plan for us. So yeah, that's my birth plan. In the next video, as I said at the beginning, I will talk about what my actual birth story was, because that's one hell of a story. Let's just say car, and that's it. So that's one crazy story that we've got to unpick and go through, because I still think I'm a little bit bothered by it, and I know I probably should need to process it and talk about it, but I haven't actually spoke about it with anyone. Like, I haven't even really had a conversation with Jay about it, because I'm just like, what on earth has happened. But if you have made it to the end of this video, please do give the video a like. Make sure you hit subscribe. There's going to be some more like mummy content, but then there's like home content, life content, work content. There's going to be some hauls. There's going to be like, we're heading into summer, so there's going to be hopefully some nice videos coming. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and I will see you all in the next video.